Whenever we decide to take a tour to any region, just as we are in the East Region of Cameroon, it's to meet new people, experience their culture, and find inspiration in the very heart of untouched nature. And in this episode, we're going to meet and share with the Baaka Pygmies of Mbang. But just before we do, the Mission School of Hope, the only school in the whole of Mbang, beckons us. This is why we are here. This is what Mbang promises. This is Travel with Dr Awah, and we are touring the East Region of Cameroon with you. Here we are at Mbang. After a 7-hour journey filled with exhaustion and excitement, blending with our eager anticipation of this place we've been told of by our tour guide. When we arrive in Mbang, we are received by a missionary pastor and his family.
Vous pouvez entrer? Ok.
The pastor is such a heartwarming person, as he has us take dinner all together and have a good night's rest in preparation for the next day's activities.
We are actually going to be going into the jungle today. Have you guys been to the jungle before? Today is my first time being in the jungle. I can imagine what it is in there. When we're coming here already, we saw some snakes. I had people eat pepper soup snake. And you know your guy, I try everything. So before I leave here, I have to eat pepper soup snake, not snails. Snake. So yeah, basically that's what we are going to be doing today. Going to the jungle. We are going to be visiting the Pygmy school, interacting with the Pygmy people and sharing our entire experience with them and with you guys. Alright, so just stay tuned.
The following day, our tour guide gives us a little tour around the village, and she happens to also be one of the missionaries, Mrs. Beatrice. When we arrive at the Mission School of Hope, the staff and the pupils and pretty much everyone else are very cheerful and receive us warmly. The Mission School of Hope is a primary school purely funded by the Mission of Hope non-profit organization. They provide free school fees and all amenities such as books and even food for free. All the pupils have to do is show up.
So the first time we came here, we came for a cross-cultural missions, a practical mission trip. And when we came here, the people were still walking naked, and there were no schools, especially in our campus 1 and even here. So that's how we met them. Totally not educated, no schooling, naked. Reverend Charles Sagame is a great missionary, a man with a very great heart. So when he came and saw so many children around, nobody was going to school, he had it in his heart to build a school. The first school we had was just a hangar like this. We just had some thatch over some planks, and it fell when rain came. We put up another structure, it fell again, and with the help of partners, we started putting up good structures.
At least there is a school where people can go to school. I can imagine how challenging it was for the people that pioneered this vision. Once more, I'm really grateful for Mission of Hope for what they are doing, and the school that we have just shown you guys is a school that is being completely sponsored and run by the Mission of Hope.
The school campus is big enough to accommodate over 50 to 100 pupils. When we get into the classes, there is a special song which is sung to welcome us. These cute little kids, all looking very cheerful and happy, sing unanimously.
Romans chapter 10 verse
The Mission School of Hope have two campuses, and we drive to the second campus, where most of the pupils are talented cultural dancers and singers. They also perform a chair dance, which is a dance setup consisting of 4 or more chairs and over 6 dancers, and each time a rhythm is played and abruptly stopped, the last dancer to get a seat among the 4 chairs is eliminated. And this goes on till the last man standing is out and the winner is given a prize seated on the chair.
Thank you. Giving all the teachers. Thank you. Giving all the guests. Thank you for the things you have done for us. Oh, thank you, the Lord. Oh, thank you, the Lord. Oh, thank you, the Lord, for the things you have done for us.
When I talk about Eastern hospitality, that is what I'm experiencing right here in Mbang. Guys, do you know what just happened? She just gave me a bunch of plantains. Why? For being the best dancer. When I tell you guys to come to my dancing school, you don't believe me. This is what my dancing has done for me. My dancing has given me a bunch of plantains. Look at this, all this for myself. Genevieve. Oh. Hey. I feel like carrying my plantains on my head again.
The handle turning. See the handle turning. Do not spill it on the ground. Do not spill it on the ground. Winner, oh, oh, oh. Winner, oh, oh, oh. Winner, oh, oh, oh. Winner, oh, oh, oh.
It was indeed a wonderful moment spent at Mission School of Hope, the only primary school in Mbang. The team presented a gift to the school administration just before taking off to meet the Pygmies of Baka. After a short distance drive, we arrive at one of the Pygmy camps. We get to meet the chief of the Pygmies, Mr. Baka, who welcomes us and serves as our expert tour guide for the moment. We are greeted with cultural dances and songs. The chief equally has the courtesy to allow us explore their huts, environment and lifestyle, and even to ask him questions. The pygmies of Baka are rumored to have been around for more than a century, and through generations, little or nothing has affected their elementary lifestyle. The chief takes us to one of the huts. On the outside, one can see that they are constructed with leaves from palm trees and banana leaves. Mr. Baka says one can even cook in these huts. Can you imagine that? One can cook some good steak here.
Wow, this is beautiful. Look, the leaves, and I can see some buckets, some baskets. So this is actually somebody's house, and this is what life is like in here. And in the night, they just close the door, and they spend their nights sleep on the floor.
Ici là on appelle que mongourou. C'est mongourou. Mongourou, c'est notre maison. Non, ça c'est la lance. Notre quartier de lance qu'on tue, le gorille, on faisait la chasse avec. C'est ça.
These huts are usually dome-shaped, and though they look small in appearance on the outside, each of these huts can accommodate at least 3 people. Mr. Baka tells us that the women are the ones responsible for building huts for the men in the clan, while the men are saddled with the responsibility of going out to hunt and provide food and security for the family. So that means that the women are more specialized in building than the men. What a civilization! Looking at one of the newly constructed huts, it is noticed that the leaves are still very green and fresh and tightly fitted. And the weaving done inside looks pretty much solid, such that it is waterproof. Truly, these pygmies are geniuses. It's a simple but very efficient construction of arts and crafts. One amazing characteristic about the Baaka Pygmies is that in their own right they are very good and fancy instrumentalists. They make their own wooden version of a harp and play some quite ethereal notes. Still, yet again, these instruments are made and played by the women. What actually do the men do? Hunting and security. Although we cannot decipher the music, but the notes are quite interesting. The chief of the Pygmies took us from there to the forest where traps are being set. And this is a whole new adventure. You might have watched those blockbuster movies where Sylvester Stallone sets some deadly explosives in the bush and releases mayhem on the enemy approaching. Well, this is more like the animal version of that narrative. The Sylvester Stallone of this movie is the prince of the Baaka Pygmies, and the enemies if caught will be the rat moles and the hares. He meticulously sets the trap by planting a stick in the ground and attaching a string on the edge of the stick. The unfortunate little straying mammal, which would step in this zone, might not live to tell the story to fellow clan members. Once the bait, the string and the stick are all in place, it is time for the grand demo. Everyone steps back and the prince takes a stick to simulate the steps of a mammal prey and begins to approach the bait. The suspense builds. After a few taps, he places the stick on the bait and the result is dramatic. The string attaches the stick and pulls it up, and that is just what could happen to any potential prey. In fact, as a human, don't dare put your leg in this hole. Again, this reveals the genius of the Baaka Pygmies. While others take examples of the prince, they begin to demonstrate the efficiency of their own traps. We notice that these people have wooden crossbows they use for hunting, and the crossbow shot is demonstrated. It actually works. Mr. Abaka, the chief of the Pygmies, tells us about the major activities carried out among his people, which are farming and hunting. To attract animals for easier hunting achievements, he says, they've got a technology for that. A specific sound is made during the night which can attract small animals from far and near to come around the village during the time of hunting. And Mr. Baka is more than ever willing to demonstrate this sound. He puts his hand over his nose, stoops low, and makes a weird sound to the human ears, but very enticing sound to the prey.
Bon, là, la personne elle vient pour lui croire que peut-être ce sont eux qui tuent parmi eux. Or, c'est toi qui fais comme ça, tu appelles. Si tu as la lance, tu as le fusil, boum, tu le tires. Si tu as la lance, tu lèves à lui, tu le lances avec la lance.
And when the prey have sufficiently come around, crossbow shots and machetes do the rest. You might be wondering, silently, how the Pygmies handle issues such as marriage, sanitation and health. Well, marriage is the most difficult procedure for the Pygmies. To marry, Mr. Abaka says, one must decide to spend between 10 to 20 years as a man at their in-laws' place, trying to win the woman's attention or that of her family. And to win her affection, you'd have to climb a tree and collect honey or split wood and hunt game for the family. That shows strength and manliness from the intending suitor. Although with the advent of different generations, the practice has seemed to be more dilute, the very essence of this culture is still being practiced today. And Mr. Baka says when it concerns sanitation and health, the Pygmies are very obvious naturalists, treating their wounds with herbs and leaves from the trees in the forest, and they do not bother to go to the hospital unless it is a matter of life and death. After all things said and done, the Baaka Pygmies have their way around life. The chief leads us back to the village, where we present some gifts for the Pygmies, amongst which are wine and machetes. Machetes are highly appreciated here, as all the women would desire their men to bring home game or some food for the family, and they cannot do appropriate hunting or farming without having a machete. According to their tradition, any gift or present is handed first to the chief, the immediate collaborators, then the rest of the people. That sums up our visit to the Baaka Pygmies of Mbang in the East Region of Cameroon. In our next episode, we are going to visit another tribe of Pygmies, but this time not in Mbang, rather all the way to Kribi in the South Region, a popular destination precisely at Grand Batanga.